Well, hello everyone and welcome back to Magic Gamer 74. I'm your host, Anthony Gamer, and today we're going to be discussing the set Homelands and great cards from that set. Now, Homelands is one of the earlier sets as it was released in October of 1995. There are 140 cards in the set, and the complete set itself is worth about $120. So therefore, it's not an expensive set to collect. Matter of fact, it was one of the first ones I collected. And you can see here that I have the complete set that I keep in this binder. The artwork on this set is really neat. Let me move a little closer here. So you can see the artwork on this set is really neat. There's quite a few really cool cards in here. Not an expensive set, like I said, but definitely one that is really worth collecting if you are into collecting complete sets. Some critics have called Homelands to be like a Legends Light, which makes sense because there are quite a few legendary creatures in this set. However, there are no gold cards like the original Legends set was, and this set, of course, is much, much more affordable for collectors. But what we're going to talk about today are some of the great cards from this set. So before we get started, don't forget to check the disclaimer down below. It'll save both of us a lot of headaches. So without further ado, let's get into the cards.
Like I said, this is a kind of a small set, only 140 cards total in the whole set. And a lot of the cards, well, as far as collectors, if you want to get the entire set, it's kind of cool and very affordable. But as far as some of the cards for playing, well, there's not going to be quite a few in today's episode, mostly because a lot of the cards in this set have high casting costs. But there are some that I really do still like to play with, and you may like to put in your deck. So let's get started then. And we're going to start off with white. So our first card is a creature. This is Abbey Gargoyles. It casts for 2 colorless and 3 white. It is a 3/4. It has flying and protection from red. Pretty cool card. Definitely if you're not playing against somebody that's playing red, it's still a pretty neat card to have. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 17 cents, and it has been reprinted a couple times. All right, and next up we have Death Speakers. This creature casts for 1 white. It is a 1/1 with protection from black. And of course, if you know me well and you've been watching this channel for a while, I always recommend playing cards that are 1/1 creatures that cast for 1. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 24 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time. All right, and next up we have Prophecy. This sorcery casts for 1 white. Reveal the top card of your target opponent's library. If it's a land, you gain 1 life. Then that player shuffles. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep. Kind of a cool card for 1, right? If you'd like to add this card to your deck or collection, it will cost you 17 cents, and it was not reprinted. All right, and our next card is Rashka the Slayer. She is our first legend in this set. She casts for 3 colorless and 2 white. She has reach. This creature can block creatures with flying, which is cool. She's a 3/3. Whenever Rashka the Slayer blocks 1 or more black creatures, Rashka gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Nice. Cool card to put in a white deck, or even perhaps as the commander in your commander deck. And best of all, it's not very expensive. If you'd like to add Rashka to your collection, she will only cost you 14 cents, but she was not reprinted. All right, and next we have Sarah Avery. Now we hear the name Sarah pop up quite a bit, and we don't find out until a little bit later who she actually is. As these cards do tell a story kind of like Legends, but yet the story continues on into later expansions. Unfortunately, there weren't any books written for Homelands as far as I know, like there were for Legends and Antiquities. Anyway, Sarah Avery is a world enchantment. It casts for 3 colorless and 1 white. Creatures with flying get +1/+1. Really good, especially if you're using an angel deck. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it's a little bit more expensive than other cards in this set. It will run you right around $2, and it has not been reprinted. And our final card from white today is Trade Caravan. Now, there are 2 versions of this which again can be kind of annoying if you're trying to collect the complete set. You got to get both of them. But this is a 1/1 creature that casts for 1, of course, but it's got a kind of a pretty cool fast effect. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a currency counter on Trade Caravan. Remove 2 currency counters from Trade Caravan. Untap target basic land. Activate only during an opponent's upkeep, which can come in quite handy when you're ready to cast a counter or something on your opponent's turn. Definitely when you're running short on mana. These 2 variations are pretty inexpensive. A is worth 15 cents and B is worth 23, and it was not reprinted. Alright, and our first blue is Aetherstorm. This enchantment casts for 3 colorless and 1 blue. Creature spells can't be cast. Pay 4 life, destroy Aetherstorm. It can't be regenerated. Any player may activate this ability. Really cool when you're trying to keep your opponent from casting creatures and you've got quite a few on the battlefield. Nice. If you'd like to add this to your collection, it will cost you 25 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time. Alright, and next up we have Chain Stasis. This instant casts for 1 blue. You may tap or untap target creature. Then that creature's controller may pay 2 colorless and 1 blue. If the player does, they may copy this spell and may choose a new target for that copy. Just hope your opponent isn't playing blue. If you'd like to add this rare card to your collection, it will cost you $1, and it was not reprinted. Alright, and our next card is Forget. This sorcery costs 2 blue. Target player discards 2 cards, then draws as many cards as they discarded this way. Kind of neat, especially if they only have 2 cards in their hand. Love it. If you'd like to add this card to your deck, it will cost you around 29 cents, and it has been reprinted 2 times. Alright, next we have Giant Albatross. This is the A card. It is a bird, a 1/1 flyer that costs 1 colorless and 1 blue. When Giant Albatross dies, you may pay 1 colorless and 1 blue. If you do, for each creature that dealt damage to Giant Albatross this turn, destroy that creature unless its controller pays 2 life. A creature destroyed this way can't be regenerated, so it's like, you destroy my creature, I destroy yours. How you like them apples? If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will run you 16 cents, and B will run you 17 cents, and it was not reprinted. Right, and our next card is Jinx. This instant costs 1 colorless and 1 blue to cast. Target land becomes the basic land type of your choice until end of turn. Draw a card at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep, which is kind of cool, especially if you have land advantage and you're like, nah, it's not a black land anymore. It's a mountain. Yeah. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 32 cents, and it has not been reprinted. And next up we have Memory Lapse. This instant casts for 1 colorless and 1 blue. It counter target spell. Of course, it's blue. If that spell is countered this way, put it on top of its owner's library instead of into that player's graveyard, which is kind of cool because if you play Arena, you know they like to ban counter spells. I don't know why that's one of the points of playing blue, but, what do I know? I've only been playing for over 20-some years. But anyway, if you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 46 cents, and the B card will cost you 30, and it has been reprinted several times. Alright, and next up we have Merchant Scroll. This sorcery casts for 1 colorless and 1 blue. Search your library for a blue instant card. Reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Cool, especially if you're looking for that one card you just gotta have. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it'll cost you a little bit. It's a common. I'm kind of surprised. It will cost you $6.16, and it has been reprinted a couple times. And our final blue card for today is Reef Pirates. This 2/2 creature casts for 1 colorless and 2 blue. Whenever Reef Pirates deals damage to an opponent, that player mills a card. Pretty cool. This also had 2 variations. I kind of understand why they stopped doing that. That is, take it from a collector. It can be a pain to remember which version you have. If you'd like to add this to your collection, it's not very expensive. It'll cost you 12 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time. And now we go into black, and probably my favorite card from this set, Baron Singer. This legendary creature, Vampire Noble, casts for 5 colorless and 3 black. He's a 5/5 flyer. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Baron Singer this turn dies, put a 2/2 +2/+2 counter on Baron Singer. Tap, regenerate another target vampire. And as there are so many cool vampires in recent sets, this is one you've got to add to a vampire deck. Must do it. If you'd like to add this to your collection, it'll cost you a little bit. It's currently worth $6.88, and it has not been reprinted. And next we have Drudge Spell. This enchantment casts for 2 black. Tap 1 black, exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard. Create a 1/1 black skeleton creature token. It has tap 1 black, regenerate this creature. When Drudge Spell leaves the battlefield, destroy all skeleton tokens. They can't be regenerated. So this could be a really interesting spell, creating your own little army of skeletons. And best of all, they regenerate. If you'd like to add this to your collection, it will run you 19 cents, and it has not been reprinted. All right, and next up we have Dry Spell. There are 2 versions of this as well. This sorcery casts for 1 colorless and 1 black. Dry Spell deals 1 damage to each creature and each player. Oh, that would be so great, especially against somebody that's playing a goblin deck. Hint, hint. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, both variations are pretty cheap. They're 13 and 14 cents each, and it was reprinted 2 times. All right, and next up we have Greater Werewolf. And yes, there is a Lesser Werewolf in a different set. This 2/4 creature casts for 4 colorless and 1 black. At end of combat, put a -0, -2 counter on each creature blocked or blocked by Greater Werewolf. Pretty cool, huh? If you'd like to add this bad boy to your collection, it will run you 19 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time. All right, and next up we have Headstone. This instant casts for 1 colorless and 1 black. Exile target card from a graveyard. Draw a card at the beginning of next turn's upkeep. Awesome. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 19 cents, and it was not reprinted. And our next card is another legend, and this is Ishan's Shade. And no, I don't mean the guy from Emperor. He casts for 3 colorless and 3 black. He is a 5/5 with protection from white. Ugh, bad dude here. If you'd like to add him to your collection, perhaps for a set, a deck, or as a commander, it won't cost you very much. He is currently worth 28 cents, and he has been reprinted several times. All right, and next up we have Irene Singer. Must be the Baron's sister or wife or something. She casts for 2 colorless and 2 black. She's a 2/2. Green enchantment spells and white enchantment spells cost 2 more to cast. Yikes. If you'd like to add her to your collection, she will cost you 23 cents, and she has not been reprinted. All right, and next up we have Cascun Falls. This world enchantment costs 2 colorless and 2 black to cast. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Cascun Falls unless you tap an untapped creature you control. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 colorless for each creature they control that's attacking you. Wow, nothing like protecting yourself. This rare card is going to cost you just a little bit. If you'd like to add it to your collection, it will cost you $10.96, and it was not reprinted. All right, back to the Singer family as we have Singer Autocrat. He's not a legend, though, but he casts for 3 colorless and 1 black. He is a 2/2. When Singer Autocrat enters the battlefield, create 3 0/1 black surf creature tokens. When Singer Autocrat leaves the battlefield, exile all surf tokens. Cool. If you'd like to add him and his little surf tokens to your deck, it won't cost you too much. He's worth right around 53 cents, and he's been reprinted several times. And our final black card is once again another one of those cards that has 2 variations, and once again represents the Singer family. This is Singer Bats. The bat casts for 1 colorless and 2 black. It's a 1/2 flyer. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Singer Bat this turn dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Singer Bats. Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder if they are members of his family. If you'd like to add them to your collection, they're not very expensive. A is worth 13 cents and B is worth 15 cents, and they have not been reprinted. All right, and let's begin red with Alabon's Tower. Another one that has two variations. This instant casts for one colorless and one red. Target blocking creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Whew, that's why you sometimes got to make sure you keep some mana open when you're being attacked or when you're blocking, or you know what I'm saying. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, they're not very expensive. Both variations are really cheap. A is 14 cents and B is 15 cents. Next up, we have Anzurin. Yeah, make sure I read right. Anzurin Ruins. God, these faces give me the creeps. This enchantment casts for 2 colorless and 2 red. As Anzurin Ruins enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type don't untap during their controller's untap steps. And I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same thing. Goblins. Oh yeah. If you'd like to add this rare card to your collection, it's a little more expensive than the average Homelands card. It will run you $2.34, and it has not been reprinted. All right, next up we have Inaba Shaman. This is like a red Tim, and we all know what Tim is, right? All right, let me put it on the screen here in case you don't know what one is. It's a blinker, and so is this one. This creature casts for 3 colorless and 1 red. It's a 2/2, but tap 1 red, tap it. Inaba Shaman deals 1 damage to any target. Nice. There are 2 variations of it, and one is worth 12 cents. That's the A. The B is worth 17, and it's been reprinted quite a few times. Next up, we have Dwarven Trader. There are 2 variations of this, of course. It is a 1/1 creature that casts for 1 red. What more do I need to say? If you'd like to add this one to your collection, or the B, the A is worth 25 cents, and the B is worth 17 cents. And next up we have another one of my favorite cards from this expansion, Aaron the Relentless. This 5/2 legendary creature casts for 3 colorless and 2 red. He has haste, which is awesome. Tap 3 red, regenerate Aaron the Relentless. Yeah, a great card for a red deck, and also perhaps for a commander. If you'd like to add him to your collection, he only will cost you 18 cents, and he has been reprinted 2 times. And now for our final red card for this set, we have Orcish Mine. This enchantment casts for 1 colorless and 2 red. Enchant land. Orcish Mine enters the battlefield with 3 ore counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, or whenever enchanted land becomes tapped, remove an ore counter from Orcish Mine. When the last ore counter is removed from Orcish Mine, destroy enchanted land, and Orcish Mine deals 2 damage to that land's controller. Oh yeah. If you'd like to add this card to your collection and play it on your opponent, it will cost you 19 cents, and it has not been reprinted. And now we begin green with a legend. This is Autumn Willow. She casts for 4 colorless and 2 green. She's a 4/4 legend. She has Shroud. This creature can't be the target of spells or abilities. Hint, hint, great card for commander. Tap 1 green. Until end of turn, Autumn Willow can be the target of spells and abilities controlled by a target player as though it didn't have Shroud. Just hope one of your opponents is not playing green, and you're in great shape. If you'd like to add her to your collection or to your commander deck, she's not too expensive. She will cost you $1.63, and she was reprinted 1 time. Next up, we have Carapace. This also has 2 variations, and didn't we all play with this card back in the day? I know I did, and a lot of my friends did as well. This enchantment will cost you 1 green. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +0/+2. Sacrifice Carapace. Regenerate enchanted creature. If you'd like to add this to your green deck, it won't cost you too much. A is 18 cents, and B is worth 19 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time in 5th edition. Next, we have Daughter of Autumn. She doesn't look much younger than her mother, but that's just me. All right, she is a legendary creature that casts for 2 colorless and 2 green. She is a 2/4. Tap 1 white. The next 1 damage that would be dealt to target white creature this turn is dealt to Daughter of Autumn instead. Pretty cool. A nice card for a white and green deck. If you like to add her to your collection, she will cost you 73 cents, and she was not reprinted. Next up, we have Folk of Anhava. There are 2 variations of this. Please, for the love of God, if Wizards of the Coast is watching this, please don't make any more variations within the same set. That's just annoying. This 1/1 creature casts for 1 green. So that's why I'm recommending it. Whenever Folk of Anhava blocks, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Pretty cool, though. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it will cost you 15 cents, and B is 12 cents. Next up, we have another card that really seemed to be in a lot of people's decks back in the day. 2 variations of this one as well. This is Hungry Mist. The 6/2 elemental creature casts for 2 colorless and 2 green. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Hungry Mist unless you pay 2 green. And if you are playing a green deck the right way, you should have a lot of land at your disposal. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it won't cost you too much. It's worth 18 cents, B is worth 13, and it was reprinted 1 time. Next up, we have one of my all-time favorite cards. I have this card in every single green deck I have or when I play green, and that is Joven's Ferrets. It is a 1/1 creature that casts for 1 green. And you're like, I know, Anthony, but you always recommend those. But this is cool. Check this out. Whenever Joven's Ferrets attacks, it gets +0/+2 until end of turn. At end of combat, tap all creatures that block Joven's Ferrets this turn. They don't untap during their controller's next untap step. Pretty cool, huh? If you'd like to add these little buggers to your collection or throw them in a green deck, they will cost you too much. They are currently worth 28 cents and were not reprinted. Next up, we have yet another card that a lot of people played back in the day, and this is Shrink. This instant casts for 1 green. Target creature gets -5, -0 until end of turn. I love that artwork. That is so cool. If you like to add this card to your deck, it won't cost you too much. It's worth 16 cents, and the B card is worth 17 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time. And next up, we have a fairy. This is the Willow Fairy. It's a 1/2 flying creature that casts for 1 colorless and 1 green. Pretty good deal if you ask me. If you like to add this cute little fairy to your collection or put her in a deck, she won't cost you too much. She is currently worth 18 cents, and the B card is worth 21 cents, and they were not reprinted. And our final green card for today is Willow Priestess. Told you the artwork on here is just amazing, but Susan Van Camp is quite a great artist herself. This creature casts for 2 colorless and 2 green. She's a 2/2. Tap it. You may put a fairy permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Tap 2, tap 1 green, 2 colorless, 1 green. Target green creature gains protection from black until end of turn. Nice. Nice as this card is and as beautiful as the artwork is, she's a little on the expensive side for this set. If you'd like to add her to your collection, she will cost you $5, and she was not reprinted. And our final card for today is an artifact. Yep, this is the final card. Finally, yay, and this is Serrated Arrows. I hate this card. My best friend loves to play with this card. He puts it in every single deck. This artifact casts for 4. Serrated Arrows enters the battlefield with 3 arrowhead counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are no arrowhead counters on Serrated Arrows, sacrifice it. Tap. Remove an arrowhead counter from Serrated Arrows. Put a -1/-1 counter on target creature. Yeah. If you like to add this annoying card to your collection and annoy your best friend and blink off his creatures, it won't cost you too much. The card is currently worth 35 cents, and it has been reprinted a couple of times. Alright, Planeswalkers, and that does it. So, what about next week's episode? Well, I thought I would do something a little special. Why don't we go back to the beginning? And so, for next week's episode, we're going to discuss... That's right, we are going back to beta, to the beginning, looking at the great cards from the very first set from Magic the Gathering. That's correct. And why are we doing this? Well, because I'd like some of you younger players to see the original set and some of the original cards. And, oh, by the way, in case one of your opponents on Arena happens to play this card, the Oracle of the Alpha, and you want to understand what it's all about, well, you're going to find out in the next episode. Well, that brings this episode of Magic Gamer 74 to a close. I really hope you all enjoyed it. I will see you guys in the next episode. If you'd like to meet me in the arena, my name is Classic Gamer 74, all one word. The C is capitalized and the G is not. So, Planeswalkers, until next time, I'll see you in the arena. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye.